One of the key differences that separated the Bernie Sanders campaign from Elizabeth Warren's is that Bernie Sanders, if he wins the nomination, will not be taking corporate money, will not be having private fundraisers, not having bundlers. He'll simply be running the campaign the way he's running it right now, relying on individual donors. Elizabeth Warren, while currently she's running a similar campaign in terms of focusing on individual donors, she has said in the past that if she wins the nomination, she will open herself up to everybody and take money from everywhere, corporations, PACs, private fundraisers, whatever. But yesterday, she appeared to change that strategy. Now I say appeared because there's more to this story. But first, watch what she said yesterday.
President Trump just announced that he's raised the largest quarter three fundraising total of $42 million. You have had success to this point without holding big dollar fundraisers. As you're kind of emerging as a front runner here, do you wonder if perhaps you would pivot to having big dollar fundraisers in a general election or be forced to do that? Could you continue doing what you're doing?
No, I will not be forced to make changes in how I raise money. Look, for me, this is pretty straightforward. Either you think democracy works and electing a president is all about going behind closed doors with bazillionaires and corporate executives and lobbyists and scooping up as much money as possible. Or you think it's about a grassroots, let's build this from the ground up. And the problem is, so long as it's the wealthy and well-connected who finance the presidential elections, then we're going to continue to have a government that works really great for the wealthy and the well-connected and just not work for much of anyone else. My campaign is all about changing that. It's all about making this country, making this government, making this democracy work, not just for those at the top, but for everyone. And here's the thing, it's working.
And can you guarantee your supporters that under no circumstances, no matter how much money Donald Trump is raising, you will not take big dollar?
Yeah, I'm not going to go do the big dollar fundraisers. I'm just not going to do it. The whole notion behind this campaign is that we can build this together. And that's exactly what we're doing.
All right. First, before I get to Elizabeth Warren's answer here, the question from this member of the press, it's so stuck in this corporate framework that the mass media operates within. Will you pivot to corporate money? I mean, I know grassroots money. I mean, this grassroots fundraising is working out great for you right now, but you see Trump raising all this money. Will you then pivot in the general election to taking money from corporations? Like, what pivot? This idea that it's okay for candidates to just completely transform what their campaign is about. A pivot is a lie. When candidates pivot in the general election, that means they were lying for the previous year. This idea that pivots are okay is stupid. Pivoting would be, are you going to lie to your grassroots base? Are you going to lie to your individual donors when you win the nomination and then take corporate money, even though you've been running this completely different campaign this entire time? I mean, just the way the media frames these questions, these discussions. Instead, he could be saying, will you continue to run this grassroots movement for the people, or will you betray them in the general election? That's an actual way to frame that question that would be in reality. But they always frame it from this position of, well, if you're moving towards corporate interests, well, it's just a pivot. It's perfectly okay. Otherwise, if you're pivoting the other way, or if you're moving from corporate interest to the people, well, you could just kiss goodbye to the Democratic Party. They're not going to be able to raise the money you want, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the way they frame all these discussions. But apart from that, her answer here, Warren's answer, is solid. But it doesn't last. So even though Elizabeth Warren here appears to now take a new direction and says that she will not change the way that she's fundraising, it's kind of a twist on the reality. So Mark Murray of NBC News broke this story, saying Elizabeth Warren's campaign clarifies she'll raise big dollar money for the party as nominee. In a statement to NBC News, the Warren campaign clarified that the candidate would indeed attend high-dollar events for the party, where individuals can donate tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. though not for the campaign, where the maximum primary and general election donation is a combined $5,600. So, this is what's happening here. She's trying to play both sides. So she's saying, well, she will not personally raise money for her campaign. She's not going to be speaking to, big dollar fundraisers during her campaign to raise money for her campaign. But she will appear at Democratic fundraisers where you're going to have wealthy individuals there giving thousands of dollars to the Democratic Party, clearly with some interests of theirs in mind. You can't play both sides here. If you go to the corporate money, you lose the movement. The movement is built around this idea that you are standing up for the people, that you are dedicated to the people. As soon as you have corporate money in there, it influences the process, it influences policy, and it changes the way you campaign, and it changes the way that you would be president. This is not a good strategy. Elizabeth Warren and the Democratic Party, because of it, will have billions of dollars in free media. Whoever wins the nomination will have billions of dollars in free media. There is no reason to raise money from corporations, be it for the Democratic Party or for yourself. Everybody will know on the ticket, it'll be the Democrat or the Republican, and that goes for down the ticket as well. So the whole point here is you have to excite voters out to come and vote for you. The way you do that is with your message that is a message dedicated to the people. As soon as you bring in the corporate money and allow Republicans to attack you on that, allow Republicans to act like you're just the same and remove your ability to then go after Trump and the Republicans by saying, oh, you're attached to corporate money, but the Democratic Party and myself, we're completely detached now. We're only relying on individual donors and we are the voice of the people. As soon as you remove your ability to say that, you lose voters. You keep people at home. This is stupid. As Fashakir writes here, if anyone thinks you're going to beat Trump with money, you are mistaken. He will have a boatload more money from the billionaire and corporate class that he has doled out favors to. You beat him with people, a dedicated, enthusiastic, and committed movement of people. And you get those people out by showing that you are dedicated to them. Bernie Sanders, his plan to get corporate influence out of politics is unmatched. Not only is he getting corporate money and big money out of politics or out of elections, but also in areas like the Democratic National Convention or the inauguration. He's taking corporate money out of those events as well. He is completely stripping the Democratic Party and politics of big dollar influence because he knows that is the only way you can actually build a movement that is dedicated to the people. What Elizabeth Warren is doing here is just Obama 2.0. Says a lot of progressive things. I'm sure she'll try to fight for some of them, but she has not shown a willingness to actually fight back against power, against the corporate interests in the party. She has not shown a willingness to face up to them when faced with their pressure. Bernie Sanders has been committed to the people his entire career, and his campaign is committed to the people now and will be committed to the people in the future, as well as if he becomes president, he will continue that commitment to the people. There is a clear difference here between these two candidates. Elizabeth Warren, it's a toss-up if you can trust her on whatever issue. I mean, she's wavered on Medicare for all. She has a strong history pushing back against Wall Street, but she has weak foreign policy. I mean, there are so many areas where you really don't know where she's going to fall because of her wavering on those issues or simply because of the corporate money that she is allowing into the Democratic Party. With Bernie Sanders, you know exactly where he stands.